Well, hello and welcome to this week's edition of The Author's Eye with me, your host, Derek M. Cartwright, and the wonderfully talented sci-fi writer, Sally and Amelia. Hello,
Hello, hello,
hello.
Mark. Good to be here again. We were just
Yes,
saying it's definitely Wednesday, not Tuesday,
it's
and I'm
definitely,
definitely in the right place.
definitely a Wednesday, definitely in the right place. So let's start this time. Well, what you've been doing this week. So, in your writing world, what's been going on? I'm
Well,
just going to have a slurp of my tea, by the way.
yeah,
So,
so I'm still working on the audiobooks for the dodecahedral series, and I'm working with a lovely actor called Lazarus Tate, who is a, and he's a young man, and he's come up and coming in Hollywood, and he has the most entertaining Instagram account. So far, but his Instagram account is sort of like it's not. So far on the progress towards getting audiobooks out of this young man, he told me he would have one audiobook finished by the 18th of August. And when I went to go and see if he'd actually delivered it, I couldn't find anything. But on my way there, I sort of checked my phone and I discovered that he was actually on Lake Garda in Italy. So I thought, oh, okay, great. So clearly he hasn't delivered my audiobook.
okay.
And then last night we were talking about some edits that he was going to do for me. And he always asks for payment in advance, which is like a bit nerve-wracking from my point of view. And then this morning I was checking his Instagram, and last night he was out drinking. I'm thinking like, okay.
Oh, he's got you well trained, hasn't he?
So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm sure all's going to end well in the end.
So, have you actually got a date, do you think, that is a workable date to when it's going to happen?
Well, he was due to deliver Son of Empire today,
Right.
but he's now asked for another 7-day extension. So yeah, so next week, huh?
And are you going to use Audible for that? Is he setting it
Yeah,
up
I am
so that it's
using
Audible
Audible.
ready? Because obviously Audible has
Yes.
slightly different
Yeah.
requirements.
So Audible is extremely good, obviously,
Yeah.
because you get to publish your audiobooks on Amazon, but also on iTunes and on ACX, which is the Amazon platform. You also get to get promo codes, so you can send free versions of your book to reviewers.
Yeah.
And I've gone with the prepayment model. There's three models that you can go with on ACX. You can go with a model where you don't pay the production team anything and you go with a 50-50 royalty share,
Yeah.
or you can do a partial royalty share, or you can just prepay for it in advance. And I've paid for it in advance because recently, I think in the last couple of years, Amazon changed the rules. Because originally, when you went through ACX, you were signing away your life for about 7 years to
Yeah.
Amazon. They were going to have your audiobook for 7 years.
Yep.
But if you pay for it all in advance, you can switch one time only. I was reading the rules about this just today. After you've had the book for 90 days on Amazon as an exclusive, you can change it to
Yeah.
wide.
Yeah.
And there are quite a lot of opportunities for selling your audiobook wide now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's
Unfortunately, they do insist on this 90-day exclusivity, but
yeah.
yeah.
I think 90 days is not very long, really, in the great scheme of things. I don't
No,
think.
it's not. I mean, if you look at from the ebook, if you use the Kindle for the
Yeah,
ebook, again, there's a similar thing where you can give them exclusivity for a 90-day period as well. And it's a fairly, for them, it's a standard
yeah.
sort of practice, isn't it? So,
Yes, well, I'm in KDP Select, and the reason for that is because of my genre. And
yeah.
your choice to being in KDP Select or not is actually driven a little bit by the competition.
Yeah.
And romance and science fiction and fantasy romance are very much driven by a Kindle readership. So when you look in your genre and then you see that the top 10 novels in that genre are all in KDP Select, then and they've got or doing Kindle Unlimited, so you've got free versions of the book if you've got a Kindle
Yeah.
Unlimited subscription, then you really can't compete And I mean, I don't know how the Amazon algorithm work, but anecdotally, they would say some people have got the suspicion that if you're not in KDP Select, if you're not Kindle Unlimited, and you're not in that program, then the Amazon algorithm is not going to favor you. But I think actually how the algorithm works, we can't say. But the fact is, Amazon serves up books that they think people are going to read. So if you've got a track record of reading a lot of science fiction on Kindle Unlimited, then your book's going to be served up more Kindle Unlimited books. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, they did change the algorithm back, I think it was May, June time. I mean, the simple truth is, with the competition levels that there are,
yes,
and because this is a corporate entity that wants to make money, one of the things that they are and have pushed is advertising. So if you are prepared to pay for the advertising, that gets you up on that ladder. But you're absolutely right. They will push anything that they think is going to sell. Because at the end of the day, they just want to make money.
yeah,
And if that means selling your book, then they're more than happy because they get the money from the printed cost as well as their own share of that,
yeah,
royalty, as it were. Yeah,
yes. So that's quite good.
yeah,
And that obviously brings us round to our topic for tonight, which is print books.
yeah.
Because what
So you can spot
some
you're a
authors,
professional, can't you? Hey,
yes,
seamlessly in there.
but the current thinking is that if you can make an additional income stream if you sell the print books direct via your website.
Yeah,
Now, there are, I would say, several, caveats around that.
yeah,
One, you have to be able to drive traffic to your website.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I don't think that's a given, really. In all the years I've had a website, I've not really seen a lot of people moving from, say, the URL,
No,
which is in my books or on my social media pages, to the website so much. But you can set up, you can use Facebook ads. Now, Facebook ads have got two different types of Facebook ads. You've got sales ads, and you've got broadcast ads. I think it's the correct word for it. Yes, I think it's broadcast ads. Now, mostly when you're advertising books on Facebook, you will be using the broadcast ads. And the reason why you do that is because you are essentially sending anyone who clicks on the ad straight through to Amazon. The
yeah,
problem with that is it can be quite difficult to track your sales. You can use little Amazon attribution links, but Facebook doesn't give you any feedback on
no,
on
no.
on on what your conversions are. But if you use a Facebook sales ads, then you put the Facebook cookie or onto your website, and then when the Facebook sales ad is clicked, you can then Facebook will tell you how many sales you've made.
Yeah,
So, and that's quite good because then you can sort of see how much traffic you have to send to your website to make a sale. So if you have to
yeah,
send 400 people to your website to sell 4 books, then you say, right, I just need to find a Facebook ads that delivers me that number of people. So you change the creative and you change the copy until you find an ad that works, and you sort of have some control over it.
yeah. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think Facebook ads can be quite expensive.
Yes.
But there is a second part to what you've just described, which is the fact that, yes, you might not get an awful lot of actual book sales with that approach from your website. But there is also the option to, if in a way, if you can get people to come to your website, they might then subscribe to your monthly newsletter, for example, which
Yes.
means that you might get, although they might not buy your book there and then, they might become one of your, you know, regular subscribers, and that later on down the line, that might well become a customer. I don't know. It's. I think it's an interesting thought of the other thing on the direct sales, though. I think is there's the actual. If you're going to do direct sales, there's two methods to doing the direct sales, as you've already
Yep.
alluded to. One is that you push your buyer to whether that be an Amazon platform or another, and we can talk about those later on. But of course, the other way of doing direct book sales is to actually have the books yourself and sell them as a
Yes.
physical copy. Um,
Yes.
and so that can become relatively expensive, you know, but but it's one way of getting you a higher amount of royalty.
Yes.
As for example, I mean, I did an exercise with a company called Bookprint in UK.
Yep.
Um, so they quoted me 1,100 quid, £1,150 for 100 hardback books,
Ooh.
which with future orders at £9.75 per 100 books. Yeah. So if I work on the basis that I then sell my hardback for 15.95, excluding delivery, I would make
Yep.
£4.45 per book, and the payment is immediate. Where if you compared that to, say, on Amazon, if you sold a hardback at 15.95, I think you would be making somewhere around the £2.20, £2.40, I think, in terms of
Yes.
royalty. And you would have to wait the 60 days before you get that money because Amazon pay you their authors 60 days in arrears, as it were. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things. If you were,
If you can sell direct, I
if
think
you
the
could
way
say,
you,
and of course, the other
yeah.
thing about selling direct isn't just necessarily off your website. The selling direct incorporates going to a book fair, going to a craft fair and selling your book and saying, "Hi, I'm your local author." And hello,
Yes.
hello, hello. So,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, I think so. The direct sales, I think, is as part of an overall approach, I think is a really important way of getting it. And there are options within that, as there always is. There's just everywhere you go within publishing, there are different options for you to
Different
go.
ways
So,
of doing it.
yeah, exactly.
And what you can do is if you're confident you've got enough traffic, then you can do the hardback, but you can do them with like personalized messages and things like that on them,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and that becomes a premium service.
Yeah.
So if you're well enough known, if you've got a strong enough following, then that's definitely a really good option.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
And I mean, I am currently working and developing my website to try and, in a way, promote that as an option. I think for my comic fantasy stuff, being able to have that conversation, face to face with somebody, I think is more important. But that's, the proof will be in the pudding, as they say. So anyway, okay. Well, I think we've covered the direct sales thing. You've obviously already alluded to Amazon,
yep.
and for those people who might not be aware, Amazon is also a publisher via their KDP platform, and this is a
Yes.
print on demand. So this is, and they currently, I think last lot of figures I saw was between 80 and 85% of all online book sales are through Amazon, and
Yes. I can well believe
and
it.
the vast majority of those are print on demand, which basically means that it's only when they get a sale that they'll actually print the book, as opposed to,
Mhm.
say, your traditional bookshop, which will buy, say, 100 copies of the latest Stephen King and hope to sell all of those. And if they don't, there is a returns process for them to claim some of that money back. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's,
And
traditional
so
publishing is not what we're covering off today. But yeah.
no.
So you've got the print on demand, and I think the other thing worth mentioning there is that also covers um, ebooks, paperbacks, and the hardbacks. So you've got
Yes.
those options available to you. Is it worth mentioning? I mean, from your point of view, do you just stick with Amazon, or are you using other print on
Yeah,
demand?
no. I put my books, I buy my own ISBNs.
Yep, I do that as well. Yep.
And I put my books onto Ingram Sparks.
Yep.
And I've also applied to Waterstones so that my books are available at Waterstones online. The paperbacks are.
Yep.
Um, And I've also using Book Vault. Book Vault is a print on demand service. And they have what it does quite well is it integrates very well with your own website.
Yeah.
So it does the printing, payment, and distribution side for you. So what you do is you go to Book Vault, um, and Book Vault can be quite expensive to set up. I think they ask you to pay £19 or something fee for each book,
Yeah.
but you can get a free membership if you're of the Alliance of Independent Authors.
Yeah.
And so you get a code, so you can get free books, and then you can upload your books in there. You link it to your website, and then what then happens is people can if you can drive traffic to your website, they can find the paperback books there. They get taken to the Book Vault page, but it looks like, because it's Wix, it's very seamless. And then in a couple of clicks, they've got quite a good sort of checkout. Because what you don't realize about contemporary e-commerce is that Amazon spoils us all with about a 3-click, checkout
Yeah.
process. You pick your product, you put it in your basket, and you check out. So it's quite good if you've got a company that can mimic that and give that ease of facility. And with Book Vault, if you're using most common websites, you can integrate it quite quickly, so you've got this quite sophisticated shop that
Yeah.
works. You can pick the book, and 2 clicks, you're at the checkout, you're paying. They can take any kind of payment, and then they send the book out as well, and
Yeah.
they give you quite a big royalty on that. So it's a really useful integration. It saves you having to have stock. It also saves you having to do all the running down to the post office and that, because that's all covered, and it saves you having to worry about payments and such.
Yeah.
So it's a very good solution. So Ingram Spark, Book Vault is one I'm using at the moment to link to my website, and then I also use Lulu. I used Lulu's because I think they're still the only company that does hardbacks with the wraparound covers on them.
Bookvault do them.
Book
So I
Vault do
get
them as
mine,
well.
I do my hardback books from Bookvault. I was just going to say, before we move on to Lulu, just to finish off, because I use Bookvault as well. Bookvault have also now expanded their operations, because historically they were very much a UK-based organization, but they're now in Canada, USA, and Australia.
Oh, that's very good.
So it's not as wide, obviously, as Amazon, but it's definitely a move in the right direction. And yes, the one advantage I think they have over Amazon is for their hardback books, you can get a dust jacket, which you
That's
can't
really
do
good.
on Amazon.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about Lulu. I use Lulu as well for lots of different things, but again, I think Lulu has, again, depending on the figures, around 4 to 5%. It just shows you the difference from
Yes.
the behemoth that is Amazon down to other companies like Lulu.
And the thing is, Amazon is really uses its market power to disadvantage Ingram Spark and Lulu
Oh yeah,
and Book Vault.
absolutely. Yeah,
If
and
you
Kobo and
if
Barnes and Noble and Apple. So yes,
you can link all of these platforms to your Amazon account, or you can sell your Lulu books on Amazon. And if you've got different ISBNs, then what you find is you'll have your hardback. You may have two. I've got 2 different paperbacks, one from Ingram Sparks, one from Amazon. And so, but the problem is with that is if you have an Ingram Spark paperback on, which is also being sold on Amazon through the Ingram Spark wider distribution, Amazon posts it as being available in 6 weeks.
yeah.
And and
Yeah,
it's not. I've
and
actually
it's not.
tested it. It come through in about 4 or 5 days.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's
yeah, they do play the game a little bit too much, unfortunately. But yeah,
yeah,
so I mean, I think it's, but it is, and just to reiterate as well. So for anyone who's considering publishing books, again, um, if we stick with this price of 15.95 that we mentioned on the direct sales, again, I've just did the figures today. You can expect on Amazon to make 275 after print costs, and you'll get paid 60. Now, obviously, Ingram Spark, Barnes and Noble, Kobo, Apple, Lulu, there will be slightly different royalty rates in there, but it's just I'm trying to use Amazon as a figure just for consistency. But yeah, so
Yeah.
and I think and of course it's just to again reiterate that when you doing this print on demand approach, you're not getting the economies of scale that you would do if you go and get, 100 books printed uh, at one time.
Yep.
Okay, so do you use any other methods for getting your books out there?
Um, no, not really. I decided quite early on. I did in back in 2012, 2013, when I was first publishing my novels. I did go wide, as they say. So
Yeah,
I was publishing across all platforms. But then I found myself I found myself sitting there one day reading a blog on how to become number one science fiction novel on Kobo. And it occurred to me, and then there was another article I was reading about how to become number one on Apple. And I just thought, I just felt exhausted because
yeah,
you just about understand Amazon's systems, and then you've got to go and
yep,
do something different for a different platform. And I just thought, you know what, it is Amazon is still at least, I think you said it, 80% something plus of the
yeah,
marketplace. Let's just win in one place,
yeah,
concentrate in one
yeah,
place,
exactly.
and
Now,
then work out the rest later.
yeah, I mean it's interesting because I think that was the strength, if you like, of Amazon has been recognized by a group of indie authors based in the US several years ago, and they set up a collective which is called Draft to Digital.
Yes,
So what D2D are is technically they're an aggregator book publisher. So so in the scenario we've just outlaid about Ingram Spark, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kobo, you as the author have to have an account with each of those publishers, and you have to load your book in that format for that particular publisher.
mm,
So there's quite a lot of work for you to actually do to get your book. Now, I absolutely take your point. When Amazon have got 80% of the market, you could just stick with Amazon and just do Amazon really, really well, and you'll
yes,
hit 80% of the market. Okay. There has been a move recently, particularly in places like Canada and Denmark, to move away from companies like Amazon,
yes,
for whatever political reasons that might be. But there has been therefore a growth in these aggregator book publishers, and Drafted Digital are probably the one. And but their advantage is you have one account, you load your ebook paperback. They don't do hardback at the minute, so it's your ebook and paperback, and they you load it. They have default formats that you can just load a standard Word document and it will create a formatted book. And they have, you've got a limited number of formatting options. But if you just want to get a book out there and not have any hassle about set it up for that company, set it for that company, you just put it on there, and then they will distribute it to everybody in whatever those format is. The software is built in to rechange it and reconfigure it for each of those things. So you've got that. But one of the biggest problems with Draft to Digital is there's no way to actually then um, advertise and market directly. So if you wanted to advertise on Amazon, you'd still have to have an Amazon account. You still
yes,
have to go and do your Amazon advertising. So unless you can, they have I think on the ebooks side of things, they have a thing called Smashwords, I think it is. And every so often they do a massive push on that to all of their previous customers. So that can be quite beneficial. That they'll do that free. You don't have to do anything. But of course, you your book has to be somewhere in the top pages for anyone to find it anyway. But it's just to say that that is an option for people if they don't want to, have an account all over the different places, only want one account and yet be able to distribute, because Drafted Digital would distribute to all of those other companies that has been mentioned, the Amazons, the Barnes and Noble, Ingram Spark, and
Yes,
you only have to have the one account.
I have thought about it quite a lot
Yeah.
actually, but I think the main thing about I would only do my paperbacks through Draft and Digital. I wouldn't do the ebooks. I think there's still a compelling argument to be in KDB Select
Yeah, I mean the
in
thing is that
and Amazon.
there's been quite a lot in the news recently around the whole Kindle payments and royalties, and a lot
Yes.
of people complaining that they're not getting their just rewards for the pages.
Oh,
The difficulty I find with Kindle, of course, is the fact that you've got to give exclusivity as
yep,
part of it. And secondly, so for example, I had Tahiri the Elemental as one of my books that was on KDP. Somebody read it over the course of 2 days. So they read the whole book, and I got 99 pence for that.
yep,
So if that person had bought the physical copy or bought the ebook or bought a hard copy, I would have got between, £2.50 and £3 for that
yes,
same thing. So we need to be aware if we are going to be pushing out onto onto Kindle, that if someone does read the whole book, you're not going to get the same amount of money that you would do if they from another media source, as it were. And of course, the other problem is that someone could just read a page, 2 pages,
yeah. They can
and
just read.
then just chuck it away because it's if you I suppose in some ways that's a good thing as a writer because you want someone to really want to read your book. So if you watch someone on on Kindle, oh, they've read the first 3 pages. Oh, will they come back? Will they come back? Oh, they've come back. You can have that sort of thing going on. And the fact that someone reads it in 2 or 3 days, you can say, oh, they really enjoyed it. It's that kind of thing. Before we move off the aggregators, just to sort of say that the drafted digital is free. That's it. You don't pay for that
Yep.
one. What they do is whoever um, sells your book, whichever platform sells your book, will give the money to Drafted Digital, and Drafted Digital will take a percentage out of your royalty. And that can be between 10 and 12% of your
Okay.
royalty. So it's just to say that obviously they've got thousands of authors, so that's how they're making the money. However, there are other aggregators who work differently. So um, for example, there's BookBaby. Um, Now, these people, they again, it's they charge so that you pay up front for their services. So anything between $300 and $500, I believe. Um, and then there's another one called Publish Drive. Publish Drive do a slightly different thing in the fact that theirs is a monthly subscription. So anything for, I think for, what have I got figures here? For one book, it's 14, $19 a month, which basically means for them to distribute it wide in libraries and everyone else, then it's $14 a month. If you've got 6 books, it's $21 a month. And if you've got 18 books, it's $42 a month. So you can, and it goes further if you've got more and more books, but it's what they do is they have that subscription model. So they supposedly will do the marketing and will provide other additional services so that Drafted Digital don't do any of the marketing. That's down to you. BookBaby and Publish Drive supposedly, I've not used them to be, upfront. I've not used them, but they do. I know they do promotions. I know they do discount schemes. They've got their own customer database that they will fire stuff off through. Um, it's just to say that there are other providers of aggregator book publishing. Um, and again, they will take a percentage of, sorry, Drafted Digital will take a percentage, whereas BookBaby and Publish Drive don't because you've already paid upfront for those services. Hopefully that makes sort of sense for people. Always happy to um, follow up with any questions that people might send in to us. But yeah, so there you go. I thought that was quite an interesting approach
Right.
and discussion around how to get your book out there and your
Yes.
options
Yeah. It's
to do
really
it from a
interesting.
self-publishing point of view. There's lots of different options. And the key thing is for anyone worrying about it from a budget point of view, it is free. If you do the Amazon, if nothing else, you can do the Amazon book publishing, print on demand, and it won't cost you a penny. You can do it for nothing.
Yes, but I think that's a bit of a misnomer because you do have to have a cover. You say you probably will
Yes,
have paid it.
but you
You do
could,
have to proofread
yeah,
by a proofreader and possibly even editor and
yes,
uh and then some beta readers.
but you're moving off the subject now. And that's for a different subject. But if you wanted to, you could do it free using Canva to do a book, blah, blah, blah. We're not going there. We're not going there.
One of my friends recently said to me, "Yes, I suppose publishing on Amazon is relatively easy." And I said, "Not if you want to do it well.
No,
Not if you want to do it well.
no. It
I
is
wouldn't call it easy at
fraught.
all."
It is fraught if you want to do it well. And if nothing else, actually abiding with all of the rules and
Yes.
regulations of having an Amazon account, if you flaunt their rules, you will be banned. That's it, end of. And
Ooh,
any royalties, anything else that you've got gone.
yeah.
So, if you're going to, this is, again, it's why some people tend to or prefer to use the aggregator because then they've only got one account to worry about and someone else is dealing with the nitty-gritty of all the other, um,
I
you know.
think Amazon will still ban you. I mean, because most of the
Oh,
ban
yes,
is to
they
do with
will. Yeah,
content.
yeah,
It's to do with content, and I think otherwise, I think a lot of if they think you're pirating content,
yeah,
or that's where they I think people mostly get banned, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. Well, should we leave it there then?
Yes, we shall. That sounds
Okay.
great. It's been
Fantastic.
I must next week I'm going to try and be in a better room because I hadn't realized how dark it's become. I'm sitting here in the pitch black and you've got lots of light on, but I haven't
Well,
got any lights on.
it's just that's just me, the light of the world. Yeah, he says.
Yeah.
Right then, I
All
shall
right.
say good night on that subject. So
Good night.
take care and I'll see you soon.
Thanks very much for organizing it, Mark.
All right.
See you again soon. See you
Bye.
soon. Bye
Bye.
bye.